right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on where you are connected from. My name is Emmanuel Adigbola, and I'm so excited to co-host today's show once again. You are welcome to your popular show, Kina F Show. So today we have come again, and we're going to be discussing very important topic that is not only for adults. I believe children also are part of this. Both adults and the young ones, young adults will benefit from this. So make sure you send that text message to your friend that, okay, Kina Show is live. And also just give us 30, 45 minutes, 1 hour, your undivided attention. And I bet you will thank us that you did. And by the way, just to let you guys know, we modify things, we review things, and starting from next show, it's no longer going to be 1 hour. We're going to cut down the time to 30 minutes. And the reason is very simple. People are busy. People's attentions are very limited. And we are here just to serve you. Okay, so I hope you take note of that even as we go on. And also remember that this is not a radio show. This is a social media. So we want to socialize with you. We want you to communicate with us. We want you to share your opinion, leave your comment, like this video, share with your friend, and from there, let's dive in. So I'm going to be bringing in our guests to introduce themselves, and we will just dive into today's show. So let me bring in Dr. Choma to say hello to you and introduce herself to you and what she does.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Chioma Ogunedo. I reside in Massachusetts, Boston to be precise. I am a family nurse practitioner and I do house calls. Nice to be here today.
Awesome. And Dr. Nwamaka, please introduce yourself and say hello to our guest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Nwamaka Emerem. I am a family nurse practitioner as well as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I primarily practice in mental health. I reside in Dallas, Texas, and it's good to be here.
Awesome. And over to you, our co-host, Mr. Alex.
Well, my name is Alex Mahere. He has already introduced me. I'm a co-host. Thank you very much and welcome to the program.
And without any further ado, I'm going to be bringing in our host of this show to introduce today's topic and to also say hello to you. So join me while you remain seated, but with your standing ovation as we bring in the host of the show.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kina Omenokor. Welcome to today's show. Today, we're going to focus on a very critical common health challenge that many people usually don't think it can cause them some health complications if not promptly treated. Today, we are going to look into sleeplessness or insomnia and how it could lead to mental health issues or how it's related to both physical and mental health issues. So please stay tuned and just enjoy the show. Thank you.
Awesome. So to just paddle the canoe of today's show, I'm going to be bringing Mr. Alex as we just dive in deeply. Over to you, Mr. Alex.
Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Choma, we're going to start off by explaining what insomnia is so that everybody will be on the same page. So over to you.
Hello, guys. I just want to make it brief. Insomnia means lack of sleep. When you're not sleeping enough, it can be divided into, it's a disorder actually. It can be divided into acute and chronic insomnia. Acute is when it happens less than 3 months and you get over it. But chronic insomnia is when you're not sleeping for more than 3 times in a week for about 3 months. And I would like to just give this brief discussion, definition of insomnia. And there are many things that can cause it, and I will leave it like that until the next question. Thank you.
Dr. Nwamaka, do you have anything to add to it? What causes insomnia?
Gladly. Thank you for that opportunity to discuss this very important a topic that's very integral in my private practice. So, essentially, insomnia is the inability for you to sleep or stay asleep. If I may just have a few seconds to discuss why this is so very important. When it comes to sleep, sleep is everything that has to do with our health, our mental health, our physical health. If sleep is not taken care of, if we're not getting adequate rest, we will not function properly mentally and physically. Is kind of like you looking at pretty much our everyday lives, everything that you do. If you have a car, you drive it, you have a company that you run. At a point, there has to be some type of shutdown. Everything has to shut down to be able to regenerate and start off again. So essentially, you need sleep to be able to have your body regenerate your cells, your nerves to be able to communicate, your brain cells to be able to communicate. It's kind of like when you have a baby, how they get a lot of sleep because they need that to grow. And after a while, when you sleep, when your body shuts down, you've slept, your body kind of regenerates, and then you're able to hit the ground running the next day. So essentially, it's so important to understand why sleep is very important.
Awesome. So I guess we just go diving into the causes of insomnia. So let's start with Dr. Choma once again.
All right. There's many things that can cause insomnia. For instance, your behavior, your attitude towards life, like Dr. Mamaka mentioned, sometimes people believe that they can do it all, they can stay up late, your behavior towards life, and other things that can cause it could be your work-life schedule. For instance, people who work nights. Another thing is stress. A lot of us especially in this country, we live under stress, and we just keep going 24/7 lifestyle. We feel we should just keep moving, especially the females. We keep going, run from family to school to work and back.
Why do you say especially female? Are you saying that
because you know
men?
what, Dr. Manuel, I know you are going to pick that up. But if you look at if you look at our family lives, the women, they bear the brunt of taking care of the children, running to school, bringing them back to
here
work,
in America,
going to the market, cooking and all that. And also our African culture affects the way we treat our women at home. So we go and do it all. And the man relaxes. So the woman is not getting enough sleep. She wakes up.
I beg to agree.
So
because one of the reasons why men die before women is because of stress. So when you're talking about stress,
you brought that
both
stress
men
on
and
yourself.
women.
You guys brought it on yourselves because the women cushion it a lot. So let's keep that for another day. Other things that can bring that could be the medications you're taking, the food you eat. A lot of people eat late, especially our African people too. You go to Paris at 10 p.m., 11, you're eating fufu. That will keep you up. You drink a lot of caffeine or you smoke cigarettes. Those are alcohol. Those are things that can make you not sleep. So there's a lot of causes, things that can cause you to have insomnia. Other things could be disease process. If you're having things like Alzheimer's disease, dementia, those are things that can keep you up. Sleep apnea also can keep you up. So noisy environment, for those people who live where the planes fly and all kinds of things, noise towards the highway, you can suffer from insomnia. So I don't know if Dr. Maka wants to add to it.
I think just before Dr. Mamaka speaks, I think international phone call also can give you insomnia, especially if you live in the US. You have to call Africa.
Those people call you at 2 a.m.
Okay, over to you, Doctor.
Dr. Mwamaka, I know you have a few more to add to this.
Yes, I do have a few more. Thank you so much. Yes, Doc, I absolutely I agree with you. There are the physiological factors that can affect sleep and cause insomnia include like hormonal and imbalances, like people that have women menopause.
Yeah.
Of course, you have sleep apnea, which is can be very, very dangerous, life-threatening. Restless leg syndrome can cause it as well. People that have those twitching and they're sleeping and they can't seem to keep their legs still, it's called, there's actually a name for it. It's called restless leg syndrome that can cause sleep issues as well. And of course, people that have chronic pain, when you're in a lot of pain, you can't really sleep. And then you have the physiological part, the psychological part of it, which is very near and dear to me because I'm very much into mental health, anxiety, depression, and of course, stress. Those things can impact sleep and they are actually intertwined. Anxiety can make you not be able to get enough sleep and also cause depression and vice versa. Same with depression and stress. And of course, other causes like that diet, like Doc mentioned earlier, what we're eating late at night, we're having indigestion and all that. And of course, people that like to exercise, when you exercise, our bodies tend to release those endorphins that kind of give us that high feeling. So if you like if you're a runner, you understand what I'm talking about. So if you're exercising like late at night and you're trying to sleep, might not be the best time to exercise because you have those endorphins that are preventing you from getting to sleep at the right time. And of course, caffeine, those energy drinks and things like that can cause you to have insomnia, and alcohol and things like that can also cause insomnia.
I would like to add a few things. Dr. Nwamaka, you brought exercise. There are some people who actually exercise put to sleep. Mm-hmm. So when they exercise, they get tired. So, it could work either way. I've seen a lot of people who exercise, they get tired, and then it makes them to fall asleep easily. So I wanted to point that out too, because there are people whose body works differently.
Dr. Kina, in regards to that, you should do it not exactly at the time you're going to sleep. You should give yourself like 2 hours before sleep. So if you're exercising from 5 to 7 and you plan to sleep at night, it will make you tired. But not that you're exercising till 8:30. That's what Dr. Nwamaka meant. So you should give yourself some space and take a hot shower and then go to bed.
Also, Dr. Nwamaka, both Dr. Choma, both of you said alcohol. I don't drink, but I just want to I see it a lot in movies where people drink and they are drunk, and before you know it, they just fall asleep and
they doze off.
So now, how do you now balance that with not be able to get sleep?
That is not real sleep.
So is that fake sleep?
That's intoxication. It's not real sleep. There are stages of sleep, and that person who is drunk will also wake up and tell you that they did not sleep well because it's the alcohol that pushed them to sleep. Either they will wake up in the middle of the night and start doing something stupid, or they might not even sleep. They will be waking and sleeping. If you've seen someone who is drunk fall asleep, that sleep is very restless. They don't get to the deep sleep stage. So I don't think it's right for us to encourage anyone to drink and fall asleep. So that's my 10 cents to that. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
I have a question to ask, and that has to do with even though Dr. Emmanuel called it international phone call. But I also had an experience where somebody told me that once he takes phone call late in the night, even if it is internal, that it makes him not sleep well. Is there any reality in that? If he has late phone call, that it affects his ability to sleep. Chioma, can you, anybody throw any light?
Did that phone call wake the person up? That's my question. Did the phone call
No. Some people get a phone call around 11:30, and they say once they talk within that period for a protracted period.
Yes.
So they're activated. So it could affect their sleep.
Exactly.
As we're all different.
And it all depends on what the phone call was about. Like, for instance, if someone calls you and you don't have money and says, I need 100,000 tomorrow because blah, 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 you will not sleep, because if that person is related to you, you'll be thinking. That's what Dr. Nwamaka was saying about anxiety, depression. It takes you from a good mood into another type of mood, and you will find yourself not sleeping because you're restless all night. You want to produce that money. Like someone is in the hospital and you call me, I'm related to you, I need to get that money to you. guess what? I'm not going to sleep because my mind will be like, what am I going to do? So it's a stress, it's an environmental stress that is affecting your rhythm of sleeping. And if that's the time I fall asleep and you wake me up, guess what? I'm not going to fall asleep again. It's just goodbye. So that I would say yes, phone calls are not good. If you're fond of calling people in the US or London at the wrong time, please stop. Thank you.
So while we are still on the issue of phone call, before we go into other areas, how does insomnia impact our mental health and so on and so forth? But now we're talking about technology, phone call. So what do we want to say about social media like WhatsApp, Facebook? People sleeping, the phone is just by their side, or after their pillow is their cell phone. Every message that comes in, they still maybe open their eyes and see. Does that really affect our sleep also? Could that also be part of causes of insomnia?
Uh, Absolutely. If I may piggyback on what Doc said earlier, yes, when you have that interruption when you're sleeping, when you're at that stage, that REM sleep, where your body is totally relaxed, you're totally shut down, and you're getting that restful, deep sleep, and you're interrupted. A lot of people find it very difficult to get back into that stage of sleep, and of course anxiety sets in, and they're tossing and turning, and they're not able to get back to sleep. Now when it comes to social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all of that, a lot of times, because we're so busy during the day, we're busy running around working, taking care of family and all that, and we feel like, okay, this is the time for me to relax and just kind of do my own thing, and kind of catch up on what's going on out there. Of course, when you're doing that, you get stimulated, right? You get stimulated. You're seeing what's happening out there. You're watching Nigerian elections. You're watching all kinds of stuff, and you're getting hyped. You're getting, excited, and anxiety sets in. Of course, the stress sets in, or even something that kind of gives you joy. You're watching something, and you're watching a comedy or something that's making you laugh and all that. It gets you excited. And of course, when it gets you excited, it's difficult for you to get back to a place where you're relaxed and you're able to sleep. So, of course, social media does affect you. What I advise is, if you have to do social media, you have to give yourself time. Make a timeline. Like, okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to shut down. I'm going to put that phone aside. I'm going to turn off the TV. Going to make my environment conducive to sleep, because just because you're laying down on your bed doesn't mean that you actually get to sleep at that time. Your body kind of needs to relax, and things start shutting down before you actually get to sleep.
Yeah, and just to kind of pick it from there, we have a question from one of our viewers, Joy, and she says, can you each elaborate on the stages of sleep? Could one be asleep but not really sleeping?
Yes.
Very good question.
It's a very good question. We have two types of sleep. We have the REM sleep and the non-REM sleep. And when you're talking about the non-REM sleep, they have three stages. The first stage is when your eyes closes, you're not really deeply asleep. You're just, beginning to sleep. Your body is beginning to relax. Then when you get to the second stage, your body now relaxes, your eyes calms down, your brain activity starts to slow down. At the third stage now is when most kids who sleep and get to that third stage, that's when they do bedwetting. Some of them get up and do sleepwalking. That's the non-REM stage sleep. But when you get to the REM stage, which is when your body is now paralyzed, calm, the rapid eye movement continues, and then you go back. So you flip from one stage to the other stage. So that time, at that first stage of the non-REM sleep, if there's any loud noise or something happens, you will jump up. At that point, you're sleeping, but you're not deeply asleep. So most people will tell you that I'm sleeping, but they didn't get to that real relaxed stage of, yes, my body's paralyzed. I don't know what's going on. I'm deeply. That's why at the third stage you can pick up a kid who is sleeping and move them to another bed and they won't wake up. So there are different stages, and it will take us more time to elaborate on that. But I wanted to touch on something that Dr. Wamaka mentioned about, social media. If you're a human being and you have time, cut your social media time to, that's what is called sleep hygiene. For me, everyone who knows me knows that 10 p.m. my phone goes to do not disturb. And my friends will always say, why is it that you do that? What if there's emergency? If there's emergency, my kids will knock on the door or somebody will open my door. But for you to be calling me after 10, I don't have any business with you. So that's the only thing I wanted to add to that. Thank you.
And just before we go to the next question, I think religious activities also could cause insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
When every day, I mean, maybe that's problem of life, maybe it's a fear of life, I will call it. But if when you have to turn every day to night vigil, every day to night vigil, every day to night vigil, then the time you now want to sleep, that sleep might not really come. And like what I do tell people, I'm a pastor by His grace, and I encourage people to pray. But waking up every night and be observing night vigil every time, and you maybe possibly you now get to work this following day, you are falling asleep at work and you are fired, then you say, oh, life is pursuing you. But there's not any life that is pursuing you, chasing you, but you are the one actually that's really, really caused that. So let's try and balance things. I mean, I'm just putting that since we are addressing our community. Nobody is saying that don't pray, but try to at least, like what we think, God, the Lord that answers prayer by 7 p.m. is still the same God that answers prayer by 12 midnight. So let's apply wisdom in doing everything. So I just feel I should throw that one out there. Because if you are waking up by 12 o'clock, by 1 a.m. to pray, that is when the witches and wizards they fly. Trust me, 12 midnight in Dallas, for instance, that is 7 a.m. in Nigeria. The witches, they're already on their way to work or on their way to farm. So, but if you are supposed to pray by 12 midnight, where people that you think are flying are chasing you, then that your prayer should be 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. over here in the US. Anyway, I just feel I should throw that out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor Emmanuel.
Let's go to the next question, Mr. Alex.
Yeah, I think at this stage we begin to ask ourselves, do we have types of insomnia? Are there types?
Well, I think we just addressed those.
Yes.
Okay.
While we are waiting for that, Mr. Alexa, because sometimes when we get questions on social media, the person might have just very limited time to be with us. So we have another question, I believe from the same Joy. What are the advantages and disadvantages of sleep aids? Could one be addicted to sleep aids? So that's another question from one of our viewers.
I think she means medications, right?
Yeah, medication. Yeah, sleep aids could mean anything. It could be pharmacological. Is it pharmacological, right? And non-pharmacological. So it depends. Sleep aids could mean anything. So I'm like, for instance, we just discussed the alcohol. Some people could sleep, thinking that maybe that would make them to fall asleep. To that person, that is sleep aid. Some people go after sex just to sleep. That could be sleep aids, and so on and so forth. So don't let us just focus only on medication. But I guess in this context, this person means medication. Okay, what do you say?
I said, Dr. Emmanuel, you got it right.
I know.
Yeah, sleep aids. Massage is part of sleep aids. Just give me massage, and that will secrete serotonin for me to sleep, right?
Okay.
Sleep aids. Okay, over to you, Dr. Choma.
I know that Dr. Wamaka will agree with me because this is her area. Sleep aid is not actually the first thing medication should not be the first line of treatment for someone who has insomnia. I know we maybe had other questions before we get to treatment. In the medical world or psychiatric world, when you have someone who is suffering from insomnia disorder, we usually do, first of all, behavioral changes, and that's when the sleep hygiene issue comes in. You teach the client, you tell the client to have a sleep diary. How many hours do you sleep? When do you fall asleep? What was the activities you did before sleeping? And what have you done to try to get yourself to sleep? So a psychiatrist or a psych nurse practitioner will look at this and say, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Can we change things? Can we move the TV out of your room? Can you go to bed only when you're ready to sleep? Don't use your bedroom as a place to sit down and talk to friends. Let it be that sanctuary where once you get there, you're ready to go to bed. And if you don't, you get out, maybe move around for 20 minutes, come back again. So to start on sleep aid, they don't usually start on the ones that are addictive. They can start with things like that you can buy over the counter, like melatonin, allergy medications. Before they move on to the ones that are addictive, they have tried all these things. So I will not want us to jump into medications first, but rather behavioral changes. I don't know if Dr. Wamaka has something. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to add something to that. So when it comes to sleep aids, when it comes to treatment, really, we need to really look at the cause of the problem. What is causing the problem? Because you don't really want to treat something that's causing another problem. You know, you really want to get to the root of the problem before you start treating what was causing insomnia. In a lot of cases, people have patients have other medical issues that are causing sleep and all that, like pain, restless leg syndrome, like I mentioned earlier, and things like that. You want to treat those things first before you actually start giving sleep aids. But then again, sometimes, even when you treat those things, some people have what we call primary insomnia. Like they can't sleep. Like it doesn't matter. It's not nothing is causing them not to sleep. There's no disease or whatever that's happening. They're just having difficulties with sleep. So if you absolutely have to give somebody, if you feel like you've gotten to the point where you have to, put some kind of intervention for sleep, like Doc mentioned earlier, you want to do non-pharmacological methods. You want to look at the sleep hygiene. What are you doing at night? Like she mentioned earlier, what are you doing that could be impacting your sleep? Are you doing things like social media and things like that? Are you watching TV in your room? Are there other things that could be impacting your sleep? Are there things that you could do to promote sleep, like calming environment? Like there are some calming apps out there that can help you, that can gently put you to sleep and help you stay asleep. So things like that, non-pharmacological methods are usually the first things you want to try first. Now, when you get to the stage where, like, you know what, it is what it is, I need to give somebody something to sleep. You want to try over-the-counter meds like magnesium glycinate. That's also very helpful. Melatonin is also very helpful. Things like that. You can try those things first. And of course, if they don't work, then you now start going into other prescribed medications before you start going into like the controlled substances and things like that. Now, the advantage is that for that person that has primary insomnia, yeah, it can help them get to sleep. But of course, as you're using those medication, you really that helps you get to sleep immediately, right? But you also have to be doing other non-pharmacological things to help you sleep. You also have to start building that hygiene of like getting to making sure you're scheduling your sleep, making sure you're not doing things that can affect your sleep, things that can help you get to sleep on time and stay asleep. You want to be doing those things while you're taking medication, because really that medicine is not supposed to be there forever. It should be a temporary measure. Now, so it's great when you're able to give a patient medicine, then they're able to sleep. But if they're not doing their own part to be able to get stay asleep and not having to depend on those medications for sleep, then you end up being addicted to that substance. Okay. Now, when you get addicted to that substance, that's when we start talking about the disadvantages, right? You need it to be able to sleep. There are side effects that come from those medications that you might end up dealing with.
Awesome. Okay, Mr. Alex, I guess we need to move to the next question.
Yeah, my question is it possible for somebody, an adult, to stay without having insomnia? I think there seem to be. So, at what point will you consider it life-threatening? Because I don't want to believe that somebody could stay without having that challenge from time to time. Is it normal to have it from time to time? Or are there cases where people just sleep without any interruption?
I will not say that it's normal to be suffering from insomnia, but from time to time, there are things that will make you suffer from insomnia. For instance, those of us that fly long distance to Africa, when you get there, you have jet lag. That's a kind of insomnia, you know. So you have to adjust. So at that point, I won't say you're suffering from the disorder of insomnia. This is being caused by something else. So your question, if someone is listening, might be like, oh, it's something that happens to everyone. No, it does not. Some people go, I have a sister who loves to sleep. No matter what happens, she sleeps. Whether it's daytime, nighttime, she sleeps. So we told her that she's very tall because she used to sleep. And it's true. You know, if you read research, it says that kids who sleep a lot, they grow taller. So what I'm trying to tell you is that insomnia, when it's acute, it's something that happens and goes. But when it's chronic, like Dr. Maka also mentioned, it's now happened for more than 3 months. It's beginning to be a primary problem. It's now a disease for you. It has to be treated. So it's not a normal thing for someone to say, I suffer from insomnia. Once you have that disorder, it's a disorder and it needs to be treated. But if you have it from time to time due to life stressors, or one day you used to work 7 to 3 and your boss calls you, especially for nurses, you don't have someone to cover the night shift, can you come in and do it? I've seen people who did it, and after that, for 1 week, it took them time to recover, to go back to the 7 to 3 shift. You know, but if you continue to be sleep deprived, you can start to have some kind of psychosis, some kind of mental challenges. You cannot concentrate. You might not be able to drive, you know, on the road. You can cause accident. There's a lot of people, you know, we talk about drunk driving. Sleep deprivation is another thing that causes accident most of the time. And it happens mostly to people who work nights. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. I mean, I just picked something from what you say right now, and I think now I know one of the reasons why I'm not that too tall. You said kids who sleep a lot grow taller. So even as a kid, they used to sleep, and now, so maybe I guess that kind of contributes
Yeah.
to it. I wish I could rewind the hands of the clock. It's okay. It is well. Well, we have a question. Sorry, Dr. Wapaka, before you add to that, maybe you can just answer the question then, add to what Dr. Choma has just said. We have a question on Facebook, actually on YouTube. Say, I guess insomnia can happen once in a while due to external or internal factors, but at what point is it considered chronic and maybe requiring medical help? So maybe you can just answer that question while you join that with what Dr. Choma said.
Yeah, so of course. Just to piggyback on what our doctor said earlier, of course you have people that have insomnia due to some type of stressor, right? Like, you know, when you fly or something and you're going to a different time zone, then, you know, you might have that jet lag, and then it will cause that type of insomnia. You could be going through some type of stress that will cause insomnia temporarily, but typically you have transient insomnia where like you're having difficulties with sleep maybe for like a few weeks to like maybe, you know, a month or so. At that point, you know, maybe due to stress or whatever that's going on, and somehow typically it will resolve after you remove the stress and you're able to kind of get back into your routine. If you're a night shift worker or someone who used to work day shift and then all of a sudden you had to work nights, your body is like, what is going on? This is not when we sleep. So it takes that body a while to kind of get back to the routine. So that's temporary, right? But then when you have when you start having difficulties with sleep that will extend up to like 3 months, 6 months, and all that, that's when you start having, you know, like, okay, this is a problem. So this is still short term at this point, about 3 months, between 3 months to 6 months. It's still kind of short term, you know, that you're having difficulties with sleep. And at this point, People might even do medication because, hey, life goes on. You still have to feed your family. You still have to work. You still have to do all those things. So if non-pharmacological method is not working at this point, you might be put on medication just to kind of short term at that point to just kind of take care of the issue. But then when it extends past 6 months, you have chronic insomnia. This is a problem. This is a medical issue that needs to be treated, because if it's not treated, then we go into all kinds of problems. Your mental health is impacted. Of course, your physical health is impacted. It's a ripple effect, right? If you're not sleeping, that can cause anxiety. Of course, that can cause depression. When you're anxious, when you're depressed, especially when you're anxious, your heart is palpitating, your blood pressure is going up, stress, your blood pressure is going up. Guess what's happening? Your body, your physical body is taking a hit because your blood pressure is high, you're having tachycardia and all that. Guess what's taking a hit? Your kidney is taking a hit, right? Because guess what fries your kidney more than anything? High blood pressure. So it's a ripple effect that happens. So when I mentioned that sleep is everything, sleep is so important. I cannot overstate that, because if you don't take care of that, then you have a whole bunch of other issues that you're dealing with. So to answer your question, yes, there is at a certain point you might need to be put on medication to help you with sleep.
So I guess this might not really be part of the question we drafted, and maybe we've treated it before. So I know there are different studies and different write-ups about how many hours an adult should sleep. So maybe I'll have an average, like how many hours can you say an adult should sleep a day?
Well, it varies. Everybody is different. There are people that typically will get 5 hours and they wake up and they hit the ground running. There are people that they need to get at least 7, 8 hours to be able to be functional. So it's really different. I mean, the average they say out there is about 7 to 8 hours for adults to be to get proper sleep, but it really depends on the individual. Children, of course, are different. They need certain amount of sleep to grow, to be able to be functional and all that. But we can't really say, okay, this person you must get at least 8 hours of sleep. Someone might get 5, 6, 7 hours of sleep and they're good to go.
Because the reason why I asked that question, Dr. Choma, is because I know most doctors will tell you, okay, sleep for 8 hours, but even your doctors, you don't sleep that 8 hours. And when you sleep for 8 hours, by the time you are 60, it means you have slept for 20 years of your life.
Oh, please.
No. I mean, so do you know what you would have done with that 20 years? So, I mean, I want us to balance, like what to say. I like what you said. There shouldn't be like, okay, a rigid number. Like, okay,
No.
there are some power sleep. I think I heard that word from somebody. Power sleep.
Yes.
That okay, you take
Power
that
nap.
power nap. That's
Power nap.
that word. Power nap. You take that power nap for just like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
That's
It's
right.
like you slept for 10 hours. And you could say you are sleeping for 8 hours, and trust me, 6 hours out of that 10, you are not really sleeping. So I think maybe we should try and balance that. What do you have to say, Dr.
Yeah,
Choma?
Pastor Emmanuel, I like that you bring life, the human aspect of this into this show by asking such questions. In the actual sense, most of my adult clients, when you come in, you say, "How, do you sleep well?" The answer is no. But you ask them, "Do you nap during the day?" They'll say, "Yeah, I'm watching TV and the TV starts to watch me." So if you look at it, if the wife is there, she will say, "Oh, he snores while he's watching TV for 2 hours, but he slept for 5 hours in the night." So if you add up 5 to 2 is 7, right? So some people can do with that 5 hours, like Dr. Wamaka said, and get running. But there will be a time when your body wants to catch up. And when it wants to catch up, that's when you have those naps. In other countries, I remember when we were in high school back home, they used to force us to take siesta, that 30 minutes. And then we hated it because we didn't know why they were doing it to us. And now I now I realize that it's very important. And personally, anytime I feel sleep deprived, I take power naps, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I just wake up, I feel like I slept for 4 hours. So it all depends on the individual and your lifestyle. But what we're saying is that you should have a habit of sleeping. That time that you said, this is my time to close my eyes, lie in bed, shut down the TV, remove all phone calls, make it my, I call it my me time. It might sound selfish, but every individual should have that, especially adults, because you cannot function. Like Dr. Wamaka mentioned, all these diseases, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, they're all linked to lack of sleep. So we need to take care of ourselves. Anxiety, depression. You know, most mothers, when they have babies, they say they have postpartum depression. It's being linked to the fact that the mother stays up watching this baby and she starts to be, like, is this worth it? You start to have that thought in your mind. Should I be going through this? And that's the depression sets in. So we need sleep. Jesus slept, like you said. There was a time he took a nap. So human beings, we need to sleep. It is part of life and we should enjoy it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alex.
I let me ask, I wanted maybe Dr. Chioma, if you can you talk a little more about sleep apnea and sleep? And then I would want Dr. Wamakar to elaborate more on some other mental health conditions that affect sleep, or rather, how sleep affects mental health.
Okay, thank you. Sleep apnea is a kind of disorder that happens to uh, most people, most adults, and you may not know it. It's like when you're sleeping, if you're watching someone who has sleep apnea, let me break it down so that everyone watching us can understand it. You will find out that they fall asleep easily, and when they start to sleep, they snore. And when they're snoring, it's like there's a time they're not breathing. You will see their chest is not moving. Sometimes it's very scary. And if someone who stays with them identify, because for instance, some of those people suffering from sleep apnea don't even know they have sleep apnea. I have a client whose daughter went on vacation with, and she was telling me that it was when they went on vacation that the granddaughter said, I think grandma died several times. And that was how the little girl described it. So they came home and she went to see her doctor. They did a sleep study and found out she had severe sleep apnea. So if you have sleep apnea, you may think you're sleeping, but you're not well rested. You're not sleeping. And when they do that test, where they give you the monitor, it's been advanced now. You can take the monitor home and send it back like the Holter monitor, and they will read the number of hours you slept and the number of wakefulness that you had during that sleep. When they do that, they can tell you, oh, you were not breathing 10 times during the night or 20 times or whatever it is. And at that point, you'll be recommended to have a CPAP or BiPAP machine to go home with. And when you're sleeping, you wear it and you sleep and it forces air into you. So there's a lack of oxygen going into your system when you're sleeping, when you have sleep apnea, because you break from breathing and the person stays silent for a while and starts to breathe again. Your body kicks in, carbon dioxide kicks in and tells you, hey, it's time for you to breathe. So sleep apnea is a disorder that needs to be treated. It's not something that you should carry on for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wamakar.
Oh, yes. Sleep, when it comes to mental health and sleep, it's a very passionate topic for me. So when I see a patient that comes in and they're talking about, oh, I can't seem to concentrate, I'm having difficulties at work, I can't stay awake during a day, like I'm moody and this and all that, the first thing that I look at is your sleep pattern, because sleep is so important. For instance, a patient that's having anxiety, that's severely depressed, having low mood and all that, that can be caused because they are not sleeping well. A patient that's always anxious, having low mood, depression, and all that, could also be having difficulties with sleep, because when you're moody and you're anxious, you're just not in a relaxed state, right? So at night you're supposed to be in a relaxed state, you're supposed to be able to sleep and let the body relax, but that's not happening because you're depressed. So when it comes to anxiety, depression, mental health in general, All those things are kind of like there's a lateral relationship between them. Now, when you look at other serious mental health disorders like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and things like that, you see that sleep is a huge issue. Doc mentioned psychosis earlier. You have a lot of patients that they're not sleeping. When they're not sleeping, they start getting psychotic. Psychotic, they start seeing things, they start hearing things that other people are not seeing. They are staring at the wall and they're seeing shadows and all kinds of things going on. That's psychosis. So what is causing this? They are not able to sleep and they're having mental disorders. Bipolar disorder, for instance, it's like two, right? The top and the bottom. You have extreme mood swings and you have the extreme lows that they happen. One integral factor that we use to diagnose bipolar disorder is the sleep, the lack of sleep. You have patients that can go all night, and they're not sleeping. They're hyper, they're so motivated, they're able to get things done and all that. Throughout the whole night, they're not able to sleep. The next day, they function like normal people, right? So that's that person has insomnia, but they have that mental disorder also. So when you have someone who's not sleeping well, someone who's having anxiety, who's having depression, has bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, at the end of the day, the one thing that is common is lack of sleep.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know our time is fast spent, but now we have expanded what insomnia is. Even if you don't know that word before, right now, I believe you should know. Now, we have not come to really expose Caesar, but to really show how to prevent Caesar from dying. So now, we're talking about insomnia now. So let's, for the sake of those watching us, we'll not go into too much of medical terms, but as the topic says, how to really prevent it or how to cure it. So how can we prevent insomnia? I'm going to ask 3 questions in one, so feel free to match also the answers. Can insomnia go away on its own? You start experiencing it, and can it just go away on its own without any medical intervention? How will you prevent insomnia from becoming a serious mental health issue? And can you self-diagnose insomnia for yourself? So this like 3 questions in one. Okay, over to you, Dr. Nwamaka.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you can. First of all, the diagnosing yourself with insomnia. Well, I wouldn't really diagnose myself with insomnia. I would go see a healthcare professional to get properly diagnosed. Because what happens when you self-diagnose yourself with anything, you start self-treating, right? And when you start self-treating, all kinds of craziness start happening. When people self-diagnose themselves with insomnia, they tend to look for other things that they feel will help them. They'll go to Dr. Google. They'll tell them, "Oh, when I had insomnia, cannabis was great. It really helped me sleep, and I slept good. And nothing has helped me more than cannabis, or Igbo, as we call it in our culture." So before you know it, that person is taking cannabis, and of course, you don't know what is mixed with. And you're taking cannabis, and then you're getting all the extra things that come with it, the hallucinations, the paranoia, the delusions, and all that. You're taking that to sleep, and before you know it, you're kind of used to taking that. You're used to it, and guess what happens? You're addicted to it. And then there are people that tend to go and they use the benzodiazepines that are not even prescribed. They get it from the streets. Before you know it, oh, I kind of like it helped me sleep. That's the only thing that has ever helped me sleep. Before you know it, that's what they're taking, and they're used to it, and they don't want to use anything else. So it's very, very dangerous to self-diagnose yourself with insomnia. You want to go to a mental health a health professional really to get properly diagnosed, because at that point they could figure out, like, okay, this is why you're having insomnia. This is why you're having this problem. They could potentially save your life, because they could find other things that are causing that insomnia that are life-threatening.
All right. So the second question now. So how can insomnia be prevented or be cured?
Okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So if you've been listening to us since we started, we've been talking about this insomnia and how to prevent it. if you think or your doctor has diagnosed you with insomnia, there was a question you asked, can it go away? Yes, it can go away if it's acute, if it's just something that is happening because you changed an environment or you moved to a new place, or you're staying in a noisy environment, now you move to a better place, or you had a short-term, let's say someone who had surgery and is in pain. And when that pain goes away, insomnia, you find yourself, you start sleeping better. So yes, insomnia can go away. And what can you do to prevent insomnia? The things you can do is what we've been mentioning: stay away from alcohol, stop eating late, don't smoke Igbo or cannabis as it's called. Don't get involved in staying late every time doing things that are not you're not supposed to be doing, like watching TV, chatting with your friends on Facebook, and making videos at night. Try to live a simple life. Be at peace with yourself, and make sleep part of your life, because it's part of your life. And another thing, if it starts to get worse, just seek help. Don't self-diagnose. Don't do like Dr. Wamaka said, Dr. Google. Look for a provider to diagnose you and treat you. Because if you're treated, it can also go away, because now you have learned how to make a diary, find out what is the cause of this my insomnia, and remove it from you, and so that you can sleep well. Thank you.
Right. And we also talk about your work schedule also can affect, so sometimes you might have to maybe change career or change your schedule, especially if you're a nurse and you work night. When you work night shift for a very long time, it definitely affects your sleep pattern. So maybe you might want to change to day shift and they use the night to rest. Or if you have to work night, then don't say I told you, but work in a night shift where you can sleep.
No, that's not the answer. You should tell the person to learn to stay out, to sleep during the day. Have a dark room that you call your own room. Darken the room, remove all lights, and let it be that the kids are off to school, your husband is off to work, then you fall asleep and you sleep. Not to say go sleep at work.
Okay, so don't sleep at all, but you can rest your face.
Yes.
We can't all sleep during the day. We have to have night shift workers. So
Yes,
we have to balance it out somehow.
All right. Yes, our time is really going fast. Mr. Alex, we still have some questions to cover, right? Dr. Kina, you have some questions to ask. I know all this will be talking about, we have not, sorry, I have to bring this. I know this is a medical or something, medical show, but there are times also that there are some things we just have to handle with prayer. I know we doctors, we don't agree with it. I'm a kind of person that I don't sleep that much, but the little one wants to do, maybe I want that sleep. And when something happens to me and I find it difficult to sleep, one of the things, or permit me to use the word, one of the passages that I quote is my own medication. It's my medication and it works for me. So maybe it might work for somebody out there. And it's just, it's the scripture that I love to, remind God. And it's Psalm 127 verse 2. Psalm 127 verse 2 said, it is vain to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for he giveth his beloved sound sleep. For he giveth his beloved sound sleep. So that scripture tells me that, okay, anytime you are having insomnia, you can't sleep, and you understand this, you can remind God that, okay, your word says you give your beloved sound sleep. And I tell you what, it worked like charm. It works more than melatonin. It gives you sound sleep. You sleep when you want to sleep. In fact, funniest thing is that one thing I've discovered is that there are a lot of medications you can take to sleep, but there's no single medication that anybody can take to wake up. They have not discovered it. So when you apply this medicine that I'm giving to you right now, it makes you sleep when you want to sleep. Trust me, it wakes you up when you are supposed to wake up. So it's just a dose. I mean, it's a free medication. You don't have to buy it anywhere, but you can use it and it works. Okay. I see Dr. Choma was agreeing with me partially. So over to you, Dr. Choma.
Well, you're very right. Studies have shown that most people who meditate have a better lifestyle of sleep, and they sleep better. So it's always good for you to find that thing, that that thing in life that you can use to. Some people play meditation music. For instance, if I do yoga, I fall asleep. That's one thing that makes me sleep. So anytime I go to yoga class, I try to be conscious so that I can wake up. I'm really happy that we did this, and I hope that most people will gain from it. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. We just read this from Ebere Ejike Ilechuku. People that work night can invest on blackout curtain. Use blue light goggle to,
Can
to simulate nighttime. It can help. Okay, thank you so much for that sharing, and I hope that works. Okay, we'll begin to tidy up. We have 4 minutes to go, but I like to always say, maybe you have what is called a take home for our audience. It's been a very resourceful show, I must confess, because this is not something that maybe affect only men or women. Everybody. We didn't even talk about children. Trust me, so many children go through this. Many children go through insomnia that, especially with their cell phone, it causes insomnia. Parents will think, okay, they are sleeping, but they are not really sleeping. So what you can do as parent is you should be able to have the time you collect that cell phone from them and let them sleep. In your home, you should have what is called a night, is it night out or night time? A blackout time, whereby the light is out. All those, you need to have it in place. And when parents go to work and kids are left alone at home also, it causes sleepless night because all they do, they just watch movies. I discovered that anytime I start a new season movies, it causes me insomnia because I want to finish that movie before I can go back to my regular sleep pattern. So all these we need to really, really adjust. And I believe if we can do all of that, it will help us. Okay, Dr. Choma, your 1 minute take home for us.
My 1 minute take home is that sleep is very important. And if you think you're having problems sleeping, seek help so that you can adjust to a good lifestyle and live a better life. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Joy says, anytime movies sedate me too. So movie is a good sleeping pill for Joy, So she's not alone. Okay, awesome. Over to you, Dr. Nwamaka.
Yes, sleep is so very important, if not the most important thing that our body needs. Just like we have machines that we operate, cars that we drive, things that we do that we eventually shut down, give it some time to rest and restart. That is the same way that our bodies need to be shut down. And remember, this human body that God made is the greatest machine that actually creates artificial intelligence. That's supposed to be a big deal, that creates everything else that we have. Doesn't it make sense to shut it down, give it some time to recuperate, regenerate, and keep going? So it is so important for us to pay attention. If you're not getting enough sleep, please seek help.
Awesome, awesome. Before Mr. Alex comes, also to some of the married couples watching us, and you are sleeping in a different room, and you say you have insomnia, you know how to cure that. All you have to do is move to the same room, and that insomnia will be taken care of by itself. Mr. Alex.
Yeah, from my take home is that we need to give attention to our sleeping culture because it is very fundamental to your life existence. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It's been an exciting, exciting show. And I could see that even our audience, they interact more. Please share this video with someone. And in case you just want to connect with our guests, you can contact them through Dr. Kina, and you can, just follow them on their social media. And Dr. Nwamaka, you want to tell our viewers how to locate you?
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a clinic in Duncanville, Texas, called at E Psychiatry. I actually have 2 clinics there. at East Psychiatry. Our phone number is 972-503-4109. And also have another clinic called Renew at Ease, and you can contact us at said phone number as well.
Awesome, awesome. And Dr. Choma?
I'm on Facebook as Chioma Ogunedo, and you can contact me anytime. Thank you.
Anytime you go to Nigeria, they can also meet you at the airport.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, Mr. Dr. Kina, over to you as you close the show today.
It has been an exciting day. I want to thank Dr. Choma as usual, and Dr. Nwamaka for this wonderful topic that we have dealt with today. And I hope our viewers from all over the world at least took something home today. Sleep is very critical for our survival, period. Take care of yourselves, get some good night's sleep, and you will feel better and you will live longer too. Thank you, and we'll see you all on the next show.